Hey YouTube, welcome to Fox Boss 9. If you've just got onto this channel for the first time, this is a little bit different than what I normally do, but it's something that I've just started doing, and we may continue to do so, so give us some feedback on that. But let's get into the intro and get right to it. So you guys that have been watching us for a while, or watching me for a while, it's been nothing but repairs and some vehicle information as far as overall views on vehicles. But when we decided to hit the road in an RV full time, we've had a need for a smaller car when we're stationary for a longer period of time, just to not run that truck in a manner that it wasn't really made to do. That, you know, an F-350 is not made for day-to-day driving, good gas mileage, and quite honestly, I didn't want to risk it getting hit, you know, to where we couldn't pull our RV. We're getting ready to start traveling again, but in the meantime, we're going to be stationary for a few months, and we went ahead and picked up a vehicle that we could drive around. However, if you've seen my last posted review on a vehicle, it was on a 2009 Hyundai Elantra, however you want to pronounce that, and that's a very good car. Something that we purchased down in Florida. We drove around in Florida, and then we drove it to Ohio, and we passed it off to get into our vehicle, and that's what this review is about. So sorry about the long intro. I just wanted to give you some background of what's happening here. So what are we riding in now? Well, we're riding in something that was limited as far as trying to find inventory, and we were lucky that the car lot actually had this available to us, and that is a 2022 Kia Forte, and it is the LXS. It's not the loaded model, but it does have some decent features. I'll have to say the reason that I really thought about doing a review on this is because how impressed I've been with the vehicle, with the car. So let me flip around so that you guys looking at my face here. I know you probably can't tell on camera, but I'm 6 foot tall and I'm 270 pounds, and I mean, I can hardly reach the floorboard, and I don't think I have the seat all the way back quite yet. And this is because we're getting ready to do about a 1,000-mile trip here. We just started, and I'm wanting to actually get pretty relaxed and maybe take a little nap. And my wife Heidi, she's going to do the driving for the, it's loud, the majority of the daylight portion of the trip. So just ignore the big GPS up there. That's something that we always run with. We like to run 2 navigations when we travel. It's just a little bit easier for us to understand. You don't need that. And the reason is because we're running Waze through Android Auto, and it's not a navigation system that Kia has provided in this car. This is just off an extra phone that we have when we travel, and we use it for Waze and also Sirius XM radio and whatever else we may want to do. Sometimes Google Maps is up here, but the navigation display is very clear, and everything is really a lot more high-tech than I expected for a price that was less than $20,000. Now, with destination charges, and at this point in time with the shortages that are out there, they jack up the price. But yeah, we got up to where everything out the door was $24,000. But basically the vehicle itself was $20,000, a little under $20,000 before all of those charges. So cruise control, it has, of course, but not adaptive cruise control. That's one feature that we kind of wish we had, but it wasn't available. And the thing that I really am impressed with is this whole self-driving mode that it has. It's not really a self-driver, it's actually driver assist. But whenever there's we have lane assist on, and if lane assist is recognizing these lines on the road, you can see Heidi could just let go of the wheel here, and the car will steer itself around. I mean, we are going around a corner right now, and it'll take care of it. Now, it's not supposed to be self-driving. It's supposed to just be driver assist. However, I have driven more than 8 miles to where this thing has just driven itself. Again, you've got to be on a road or an area that has good line indications, because it is a simple camera function that's running that. There's not a lot of sensors or anything like that. And again, we don't have adaptive cruise control, so it's not going to slow you down. This thing would basically steer itself into the back of, let's say, for example, this truck, if we tried to let it drive itself 100%. But for the price, point that you start with here, that is incredible. That is an incredible feature that I didn't expect. Now, that was my first surprise.
Police reported
My
ahead.
second surprise is that the gas mileage on this thing is way better than I expected. I mean, way better than I expected. This rated for 29 in the city and 39 on the highway. And we have, so far as the computer's concerned, 43.7 miles per gallon, and we've been cruising at about 72 miles an hour. And that was starting off in the city. And after starting off in the city, we had got on the highway, and the highway driving had us getting off. We stopped at McDonald's and got back on. So it's not always been constant driving, nice, easy speed. The other thing, which I'm going to report this real quick, the other thing is that the hill and the terrain that we have going on here, I mean, we are in basically southern Ohio, and we're up and down. We are going up and down, and it's not smooth and flat. And we're still averaging, so the trip computer says, 43.5 miles to gallon. So right now it's overachieving by 4 miles to gallon, roughly, what it says it's supposed to be able to do. The Kia Forte, I don't know what kind of target audience it's supposed to have, but this is like if you are a Ford Taurus person, which we are, or a Chevy Impala person, and you're wanting something maybe slightly smaller, a little bit, better on gas, a little bit more maneuverable. It's a great family car for a starter family. We did have our grandson in the car. He's still in a car seat. The car seat could go behind the seat I'm currently in, and then the seat needed to be moved forward much more than what I'm currently at. But it's pretty spacious, although you can see all our luggage and stuff just thrown back here. The seats do fold down in the back, which we'll show that a little bit later in the video. And as far as the wind noise that the car provides, it's pretty decent. We do have a semi-windy day today, and the trucks do move this car around a little bit more on the highway than we expect, or we expected. However, I think that has a lot to do with the aerodynamics and basically how small the car is. This is the non-turbo. This is just a 4-cylinder engine. It's a 2.0 liter, and it's a quiet, very quiet, nice little 4-cylinder engine. But I wanted to give you an idea of what the driving was like on this initially. It's tilt telescopic steering. This does not have remote start. Again, we just bought what was available because it was such a shortage. There are some features inside here that I think is really cool. They have a drive mode that you can choose sport, or you can choose smart, and the smart mode will determine, based on how you're driving, if they should put you in sport or normal driving. We're just traveling in normal right now. The thing that a lot of people don't realize whenever they hear this is this is a CVT transmission, but it's a geared transmission. If we were to move this shift lever over to the left, it would put us in the sport mode, to where we can bump the shifter up and down and manually shift the car. Now, there's safety precautions that are built in place that don't allow you to, necessarily put it in a gear you're not supposed to. Like, I couldn't put it in first gear right now. It's 70 miles an hour. Who would want to? But if you accidentally did, it just won't allow it. However, the sport shifter is kind of nice. It's very quick and responsive. You can just bump it up and down gears as you need. Something I don't think that's really necessary in a vehicle that you might want to be using for, pretty much gas mileage and traveling, even city driving. But there are people that like to do that. Although the sport mode is there, this is only a 140 horse engine. Now, I say an only 140 horse engine. If you get the GT model of this, you're going to get a little turbo on there, and it's going to be a 200 horse engine. That's a lot for this little car. Even at 140 horsepower, this car has plenty of get up. It gets you out in traffic. It picks up nicely, and it holds speed nicely too. The thing that a lot of people don't realize is how much horsepower that is, considering what it used to be like years ago. I remember whenever I was just out of high school, or just right around in high school, we bought a 1978 Ford Mustang Cobra. It was kind of my first real car, and that car had a 302 V8, and from the factory it was rated at 126 horsepower with a V8. So it's kind of nice that these four cylinders do the kind of horsepower that they are doing in a lighter, more quieter, and much more fuel efficient manner. So we're going to test this thing out. We're going to drive it the 1,000 miles. Right now it has 1,100 miles on it, but we've only driven about 170 miles of that. Our son had the car. He utilized it for about 900 miles. He said it was a great car for him. He liked it. Go ahead and give you an idea of gas mileage and what you can expect real world driving. We're running here 75 miles an hour. We'll probably do that for the majority of the trip. I think whenever I'm driving, I might be hovering around the 80 mile per hour mark a little bit, but we'll have to see how that all pans out and what it does to the gas mileage. So this does have a 14-gallon tank, which is surprising. I thought that it would probably be around a 12-gallon tank with the kind of gas mileage that it got, but I am grateful that it's 14 so that we don't have to stop as much. So we'll pick this up a little bit later and talk about the gas mileage, and we'll do a walk around of the car, give you some other looks of it. And the nice thing about that is we'll be in sunny Florida when we do it, and you'll have good sunshine, and we'll be in shorts and t-shirts instead of jackets and long pants. So we'll pick that up a little bit later. Okay, so we're at our first fuel stop with this, and it's really nice. I mean, we're going quite a few miles. We did a trip, this leg of the trip was 369 miles, 0.3. Now here's where some bad news is coming into place. And I've noticed this before too. So 43.6 is what they're saying our miles per gallon is. And they're not exactly accurate. Over that trip that of 369.3 miles, we used 9.6 gallons. And if you calculate that out, that is our gas mileage right there. 38 miles to the gallon, not 43 miles to the gallon. So the good news is that the vehicle says that it can do, and it's EPA rated at 40 miles to the gallon on the highway. And we're very close to that, even though we've been running anywhere between 70 miles an hour and 80 miles an hour. We still achieved almost 40 miles to the gallon. The bad news is this thing is saying that we're doing 43.6 miles to the gallon. So it's, again, 43.6 miles per gallon. That's inaccurate. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to recalibrate that. That kind of that's disturbing that it's off that much over such a short distance. I mean, 370 miles, I could expect it to be off by, maybe 1%, but I think that's quite a bit. So that is a disadvantage. However, it's still getting great gas mileage. The next day, obviously, by the daylight, compared to what we were filming before, well, actually, wasn't too bad. The car is doing exceptionally well. Now that we've been driving it for 750 miles, the things that I'm finding about it is the fuel mileage is just incredible. And I neglected to mention a little bit earlier that in addition to this CVT transmission or CVT coupling to the drivetrain, you know, it is an 8-speed automatic also. So we do have 8 gears here to choose from, and I can tell that it definitely utilizes it to the fullest. The other thing that I found out is whenever you take the gear shift and you just move it to the left, there's no sense in changing the modes to sport mode because it does that automatically. As soon as you move the gear shifter to the position that you can manually select gears, it's immediate. It turns into sport mode, which is basically a little bit more responsive. It takes off a little bit quicker from a dead stop. It keeps the RPMs a little higher, so it keeps it in a little bit lower of a gear. We find that very helpful whenever we got into bumper-to-bumper traffic. Just pop it over into sport mode makes it so much easier. But the fuel mileage, even if we're at 88% of what this gauge reads, the gauge is reading 42.9 miles per gallon. So that is incredibly, really good. That's very good because I've been traveling 80 to 84 for about the last 120 miles, and it's been doing really well. So again, once we get to our location, we'll give you a walk around of the car. Hopefully we've got it washed by then, and let you see the styling of the car and the interior. Even though it'll be a little bit cluttered, you'll be able to see overall what it looks like. And again, I'm 6 foot, 270 pounds, and I fit very well in here. I'm comfortable. It's surprising. Let's just say it's surprising. So before you guys write off, you know, a Forte as a compact car, and you need something a little bit bigger, an intermediate, you know, car, unless you're utilizing the back seat a lot with bigger kids, bigger people, adults, it may not be that bad. And even then, as long as the persons that, you know, are up front aren't reclined out like I am here, you'd probably be okay. So we'll continue on. We still have lots of mileage left, 400 miles to go, and I don't know, we'll see what it's like. Okay, so I found a disadvantage of leaving it on this here instead of resetting the trip. This sense refueling will erase your mileage. So if you look, you know, I've got 1908.4 accumulated miles, but I don't have any trip info. That would be that one there. So what you need to do is don't let it erase it before you start your thing. So we had to go back and look. We've gone 456 miles, and we used 11.9 miles, 11.9 gallons of gas. So we've done 38.3 miles per gallon.
Which is the same. Which is
what was the, you could see, that's what we did for the first, I don't know, the first leg of our trip, basically. So thing is I've been doing 80 to 90 miles an hour most of the trip. I actually had the cruise control set on 84, and yeah, and I'm still getting 38 miles to the gallon. Now again, the trip meter the whole time was saying that I was getting 42 miles to gallon. It was not getting 42 miles to the gallon. It was getting 38. So again, about 88% of what it says. So we're loaded up here, and we're going to continue on. The car is filthy, so we'll show you whenever we get it straightened out. All right, so we're going to get you in the morning sun, but this is the exterior of the vehicle. I wanted to show you basically the overall looks of these new Fortes. Now, the only difference in this model and basically the baseline model is this is the LXS, and with that you have some nicer rims that are available. I mean, they are not, you know, steel wheels with hubcaps. We didn't really want necessarily another black vehicle, as you can tell. We have a black vehicle already, and it's a handful to keep clean. However, again, because of the shortages that are currently going on at time of filming here, we didn't have much of a choice. And again, I just wanted to give you a total walk around. Another thing is you can see what I call the 9-inch nails logo. If you see that on Kias, that means it's a 2022 or newer. So they started doing that in 2022. Before that, you had the old Kia logo, which is just the circle with the word Kia in it. And again, nice looking vehicle. Let's go ahead and take a peek in the trunk here, I guess, since we're near the back. The remote. It's a regular key fob. You got their panic, hold for the trunk, unlock, and of course lock. And then this is a key. This isn't a keyless vehicle. We don't have that option on here. Again, we got what we had on the lot. We got some stuff in here, obviously. The trunk is rather large, which I'm surprised to find. I didn't expect, to tell you the truth, the trunk to be as large as it was, and I'm happy that it is. You have a couple of pass-throughs, which you just pull these levers and the seats will fold down. The pass-through on the right-hand side, I don't know if you can tell there, is bigger than the left-hand side, so you can put a passenger on the left and still have a good pass-through on the right, or a couple passengers on the right and a smaller pass-through on the left. This is for like a 42-gallon totes, the lids here, so you can get an idea of the size. Tux mat, I'll put the link in the description for these. They fit perfect. This is something that's available on Amazon, and I'm very happy with that. Oh, let's unlock it. And there you go. A nice cream color. We like the way that the interior looks as far as the color. However, it didn't take very long, and I'm going to show you here. Oh, let's for a stain, which I'll point out here in a little bit. I do like the door holders for the drinks. They're very plentiful and deep. The other thing is, my wife and I both commented about how deep these are, and I'll tell you why when we get to the front, and some of you may apply. I don't know. So yeah, it didn't take very long for a stain to occur. You can see right here is a couple. These are just like water stains, and that came from a drink that was placed here. And when it was placed, it kind of dropped in the cup holder and slung what was on the lid over here, and it stained immediately. So if you get a lighter color, I know that our Kia Rondo had this problem. These seats stain easily because that Kia Rondo, the seats were stained pretty heavily. So again, you can see how easy the big drink holder is, and you still have door pocket space on either side. But getting back to this big frontal area, McDonald's French fries, not a large, I don't believe, but anything other than a large fits in here nicely. They're hash browns. You can see we were driving quite a bit and eating while we were on the road, so that's why I talk about it. So the interior, as we went over before, nicely appointed. I like these aircraft style on-off air conditioning vents. Pretty much point in any direction. Again, this is tilt telescopic. A lot of controls in the steering wheel to control a lot of different functions. You can turn it on and off the audible locking horn, which I think I'm going to have to do that. Of course, you have a release for the trunk, a manual release, and of course your gas cap door. And we'll go ahead and take a look underneath the hood. Again, the floor mats, they're very custom fit. You can see how nice they fit in here. Again, link will be down below for that. Same here, the one that goes across the center. I mean, it not only goes across the center, but it goes up and over. That's a very nice feature for this unit. This does not have your traditional hood prop, hydraulic hood prop. Instead, you're stuck with what you would expect, a regular hood prop. So I'll just hold the hood up here. Looks like that this engine has a workable space around it. I don't know if you can tell, but This wide angle lens kind of eschews things. But I'm sure if you had to do a timing belt, which is probably a 100,000 mile item, that could be done. It was a very quiet ride. The car comes equipped with a brand of tires that I'm not familiar with, and that is a Solus, S-O-L-U-S. It's Kumo, and the Solus is their sub brand. So Kumo tires, I've heard of Kumo, but I'm just not familiar with them. It does have the turn signals and the mirrors. All the safety features work really well. We had everything turned on. At one point in bumper to bumper traffic, it did apply the brakes as we were approaching quickly stopped traffic, and it just did it for a brief second because I'm pretty good with my reflexes. I had no fear of hitting what we were approaching, but it did see that we were approaching it at a rather quick speed, so it applied the brakes briefly. Again, all those things can be turned off. You don't have to have those on. So the car is a pretty good buy. Again, for a car that has a price that starts at below $20,000, that's a fair vehicle to have as far as options. It was an incredible ride back, and again, I'm very, very impressed. And I'm giving you a shock value here because of what I've experienced with this truck. The truck, when we're towing, is 7.5 miles to the gallon whenever I'm driving it, because I drive at a pretty good clip pulling this RV. When it's empty, the truck can do up to 17 miles to the gallon, but the fact that the car got 38 miles to the gallon is just incredible. So if you're looking for a Kia, I would suggest maybe looking at this one. So if you're looking for a vehicle, you haven't looked at Kia before, go check out the Kia Forte. Again, if you have a Kia or if you pick up a Kia, I'll put the links down below for the floor mats that we utilized, because they were very, very nice. But it was a nice car, and if you're in the Akron area, and I'm talking about Akron, Ohio area, look at Vanderveer Kia, and ask for David Figueroa. He was our salesman, and the guy did a great job. And we were very happy with the ability for them to locate and get us in a vehicle. And if you're watching this, David, thanks. I appreciate it. The car did great. We're down in Florida, as you can see, sunny weather, hot weather, and we're into December. Next week is Christmas, and the car got us here. So thank you. And if you like this video, click like or subscribe. If you haven't checked out, I've done a review on a car that we drove up to Ohio, and look for more videos like that, and we'll see what's coming in the future. And the hint on that is, hopefully I can start picking up some vehicles and flipping them around, as far as finding them abandoned and getting them running. I think I'd like to start doing that for this channel, but we still have a lot of time before that may happen. And if you haven't checked out our videos, or if you want to see more videos on my truck and the towing that it does, again, that's a 2020. It's a 7.3, and man, I've run that thing hard, and it's done a really good job pulling this, and it's getting ready to pull something even bigger, I believe. That's a little hint, but we'll talk to you again, and thanks for watching Fox Boss 9.